Anti-Afro Spingalis, guess what we have learned, people? There is a Wednesday deadline. A Wednesday deadline for Umar to get everything into the city of Wilmington or the block party is off. Before I get into details about that, I need to make a correction. The last couple of videos I have spoken about the vendors, and I made a mistake. I stated that Umar was asking people to send him the vendor information. And what I was saying is that Umar was supposed to have the vendors send the information to the city. That actually is incorrect. What Umar was supposed to do is get all the information about the vendors himself, a list. Then he was supposed to give the list to the city. Then they would give the approvals. So that was incorrect. They were not supposed to send it directly to the city. They were supposed to get the information to Umar. He was supposed to organize it and give it to the city so they can do their check. I was correct about the fact that if you don't have your information in right on the day, if it's 2 weeks, you don't have to have it right in at 2 weeks. They will give you leeway. In this instance, Umar is being given until Wednesday. He is being given until Wednesday to get all of the information and documentation in for the block party. He hasn't yet done that. Now, this is something that I addressed in the last video. How in the world can you take a trip overseas knowing this information has not even been submitted to the city? My answer to that question is this whole charade was never about a block party. This was only about collecting funds. And Umar did just that. Oh, he made it seem it was legitimate. He put up this website so he can register. He posted all these videos. He spoke of these elaborate plans. But according to the city, one of our anti-fraud warriors got all the details because before the information was kind of scant. But this time the person was able to hone in and ask very specific questions. Umar only submitted some information. He doesn't have a list of vendors. And every single thing that he stated he would have at that block party, he needs to make sure this city has this information. Because what's going to happen, the vendor who is serving food or vendors is going to be subjected to an inspection on site. So he has to give the name to the city so they can arrange for someone to come out there and do the inspection. Now, if you're not having any food at all, if you're not serving any food, say that somebody's going to be donating, I'm just making up anything, sack lunches. There isn't going to be any inspection required. If people are preparing food, yes, indeed, there needs to be an inspection. If people are bringing in hot food, yes, there needs to be some sort of inspection. But if you're just serving sandwiches and bottled water, no, an inspection will not be required. All the other things Umar was talking about, they require permits. And the city had stated to the anti-fraud warrior, under no circumstances is it allowable for anybody to come into the public arena and sell food unless they have, number one, a permit issued through the city and a health permit. So if you are a vendor, say you're a pre-existing vendor, you would have that health permit. You can't be a person from your home and come into the public and sell food at a public event. This is what they are saying to the anti-fraud warrior, because before it was hard to get through to anybody. There was phone tag. And so the question also came through. What happens if this information is not delivered by Wednesday? Then they will issue a denial of the permit. As it stands now, there is no denial of the permit, but there will be come Wednesday. So we see it has gone far beyond the requirement of 30 days, of 2 weeks, as it should, because things just don't turn out the way we plan. There needs to be leeway. I support leeway. I stated it in the last video. They're not going to go right down to the day. They're going down within 2 days of the event to give people an opportunity to get their documents in. Now, if you're working on good faith, there should be no reason why you can't secure those documents for the city to inspect and make their contacts and call around to make sure all permits are in order, which I'm sure the city has a way of looking that stuff up. They would know if someone has a valid food service or health permit to sell food on premises. Now, the only other exception is people are allowed to give samples of wrapped food, goods, dried food, but you can't sell food. You cannot give food away at a public event unless you have a vendor permit and a health permit from the health department. So we are going to see what happens. Wednesday is the day. So the anti-fraud warrior did request a response because there was a phone conversation. And whatever the disposition will be as to this permit, the person is asking for a response. And hopefully there will be a response. And so the other question that was posed, if a person doesn't have a permit, say the permit is denied, and they go ahead and have the gathering anyway, what happens? So what the person had relayed is that whenever a permit is denied, that denial is sent to several different departments, and one of them would be the Wilmington Police Department. So that means the organizers would not be allowed to hold the event. What do you all think? I just can't get over the fact that Umar went overseas. That's what I'm thinking about. Why go overseas when you have a block party coming up? I'm going to maintain the fact that Umar really wanted to get away. He needed a vacation. He wanted to reminisce about the old times. Those were the days. I got to get up out of here because people were sending me an infusion of cash, and I just wanted to get up out of here and leave. And this is when Umar had a place, albeit junky, like I said in the last video, but he had a place. Now we're getting down to the wire. He has touted this block party unlike he's ever done before. Now, he's announced events at the abandoned bomb shelter, but he hasn't been so determined. I mean, there were several videos that were posted, at least 10, 12 videos, where he kept hammering away about this block party, this block party, this block party. Get your donations in. He kept saying, hit the Cash App. He became more and more desperate for people to hit the Cash App. So Wednesday, it is do or die, people. Do or die with respect to whether or not this block party is going to be moving forward. They are waiting for Umar to turn in additional documents, which he hasn't done. That will be the determining factor. No, it is not our fault, anti-fraud warriors' faults or supporters or friends, that this block party has any hiccups. It falls exclusively on Umar Johnson that he did not meet the requirements, if that does indeed occur. The whole situation, you need to keep in mind, this whole location is used as a money transfer service. If you look into Google Maps, that is how this agency or this place is listed, as a money transfer service. Umar stands out in front of the building and solicits funds. That is how that name became attached to the so-called FDMG building. It's not known as a school. So when you start dealing with government agencies and they require certain things and you don't comply, they're going to put a stop to what you're trying to do. And this is a situation we have going now. Again, it remains to be seen if Umar will actually follow through with the rest of the documents. People, what do you think? What we do know for sure, Wednesday is the deadline, and hopefully the anti-fraud warrior will get the email. If not, they're going to make another phone call and get the answer. And when I get the answer, I will be sure to pass it on to all of you. In the meantime, if you're going to be dealing with the government, recognize there are indeed timelines, or you will not be able to move forward with what you're planning to do. That means you always must heed the warning. Buyer beware.